Hi, my name is Jen, and this is my 3D model of the left hemisphere of the brain. It's made out of gelatin. I had a mold around that was really handy to use. Unfortunately, some of the proportions are a little bit off, but we have our landmark, so we're good to go. The central sulcus is this darker line right here. The frontal lobe is this whole blue area. It's anterior to the central sulcus and is mainly responsible for movement. The precentral gyrus is this dark blue strip here, and that's where we'll find the primary motor cortex, also known as the motor strip. Anterior to that, in this kind of green strip, is the motor association cortex, which is involved in planning and sequencing of movement. The parietal lobe is posterior to the central sulcus in this kind of whole reddish orange area. This darker area right here, this kind of red strip, is where we'll find the primary sensory cortex, and posterior to that, kind of this pinkish strip, is the sensory association cortex. The lateral fissure is down here, and it divides between the frontal lobe and the temporal lobe. The temporal lobe is inferior to the parietal lobe and the lateral fissure, and that's kind of this whole yellow area down here. It's responsible for auditory processing. The occipital lobe is in the posterior of the hemisphere, kind of shown in this green area, and it's responsible for the reception and processing of visual information. The preoccipital notch marks where the temporal lobe ends and the occipital lobe begins. Down here in white is the cerebellum, and Broca's area is kind of marked by this purple area in the frontal lobe. It's responsible for the planning and sequencing of speech production. And finally, kind of this teal area is Wernicke's area, and it's in the superior part of the temporal lobe and is responsible for decoding spoken language. And I've got these little name markers here for Broca's and Wernicke's. So that is my model. Good luck to everybody on the exam this week.